when I set the camera up, and I was like, oh, it looks so clear. And you can't see any whatever in the reflection. And then as soon as I turn the light on, then it did it. But it only does it on this side. So I don't know. Still trying to figure out what it is. Like, why it's doing that. I have no idea. I mean, it could just be an energetic change somehow, and it's being picked up. Like, I guess the government now has been found out. They've got portals they're using. There's portals all around us. There's portals all around us. That's what I've been saying. It's like a honeycomb of energy. And you can go where you're an energetic match. And you can't be somewhere where you're not an energetic match. So it has to do with sometimes the binaural beats thing, you know, because you gotta find some that you like and you trust, because there is a lot that are just like overloaded. Like my YouTube, every single thing is all these. There's so many. And sometimes, you know, you'll just be like, oh, that one's cool. And they do a lot of them like, we'll bring you money. We'll bring you love. We'll listen to this 5 minutes and you'll get this. And so there's a lot of phony baloney promises and stuff on them. And but I don't think they're all legit. Like, I don't think they're all, like, I don't even know on this one. You know, it says it's 432 hertz, and it's, sometimes they'll market it as healing. Sometimes they'll market it as calming. And the same with 528 and 414 is those three. But Stella really likes the 425 and the 528. Whenever I put those ones on, she always calms down and lays down and relaxes. So those ones, and then sometimes she will get up and she'll start being real antsy, you know, and I'll be feeling like I'm antsy, and I'll be like, oh, I bet it's that fucking music. I bet it's like a little too high, a little too, like something's off. And so I'll just switch the music, and, you know, that can switch the whole energy in your room. So anyways, just be aware of that kind of stuff with these beats and stuff. But some of them have such fucking cool imagery. And maybe some of the people get more focused on that and they don't really know about the hertz or something. Maybe it's not done on purpose, but I think some is done on purpose. As there was even somebody, because I stopped following her, the Lucifer lover. So I don't know what's going on with her lately. But I did see one video where she had on maybe the tunes for her dogs or something, and then she left and came back, and it was doing some real weird thing where she was like, oh my God. And I said that during the sleeping ones. I was like, it seems like that they program you. And so, and that's why I never would use them. I don't even use any of those meditations. Like these people who use all of the meditations, because that's how paranoid I am. I don't trust them. To, you know, get your mind in a certain state, and you're allowing it. So it's like, oh, I don't want them messing around up in there. I want them telling me something I don't know. So anyways, I don't do those either. But I have been hypnotized, or I have gone to do a QHHT. But you have more awareness. Like, you know, when you're doing those meditations on there and you go into, like, I always fall asleep when something becomes like a meditation or whatever. I'll always fall asleep. When I'm communicating with them, I'm just up wide awake. And when I go into a state, and usually when I like enter a state like that, it's not to communicate with them. It's to, sometimes it's just to look into the future. Like, it's like, oh, let's go somewhere. Let's look in the future again. Let's look at that. And so I will do that kind of stuff. So and then it's like, you go there and it just puts you into a dream almost. It puts you into a different, and then I'm just asleep. Like, it's real quick too. But it used to not be. I used to have a sleep disorder, like a horrible sleep disorder. That was one of my pills that fucked with me all the time. Sleep medicine, especially working at the hospital. and sleeping or working in the, and having to work all night. That was one of the reasons why I left the hospital. That was a huge old fucking drama too. Because it was all during, there was so much that went on. And, anyways, but I had been working at the hospital before because night shift worked good because my husband, because we worked 2 different shifts. So there's always like a parent at home. And we just had always done that ever since I had been working. It was more out of necessity of child support. Daycare prices. But it was also, you know, but when you don't have a good relationship, it's convenient too. You don't have to see each other much, so you can get along a lot better. But, you know, it would still be like, well, you know, let's go camping this weekend when both are off or whatever. And it would always be a disaster. So it's like, you gotta recognize the signs. So when a relationship is done, it's done. Like, but then your lessons just, I mean, those are your lessons then, you know. Lessons come in all packages in all different ways. And you just got to have awareness of them. And they're coming all the time, I think. I don't understand these people think you can just ignore life and stuff. So, I don't know. There's always lessons. There's always stuff I'm learning. Just like, okay, yesterday, you know, I didn't get any sleep. It was the weirdest fucking night. Like, all these nights keep being so weird. Just like right now. It's like this fucking loud and there's all this like stuff. It can be intense and overwhelming and stuff. And I think that's why some of these people like go to the doctors and they ask for help. And some of them have to wear, you know, like to try and minimize their stimulation from all of the stuff. The more you keep going, the further out of your tight bubble that you have formed to control your reality, the further out you go. Like I've said, it's like more open water. You know, it can be scarier. It's going to be super scary for some people. But you just got to tiptoe it out. Don't feel like you have to jump in, especially just because of a bunch of people are ahead of you. Take your time. It's your development. It's your, you know, it's your time of existence. Focus on you. Don't focus on like, oh man, they're all doing this. Oh, that person's telepathic now. Oh, that person's levitating, you know. Don't be like, take your steps, because all the steps that you take are steps of you to learn and expand. You don't want to skip that part. You have lessons. Everybody has unique, distinct lessons, and that doesn't mean you're not going to catch up real quick at some point anyways. So don't ever feel like you're being left out or left behind and you got to skip parts and try and pretend and try and catch up with it. You know, get out of that idea. Start realizing that everything is your lessons. Like, you're supposed to take each step. You're not supposed to jump, leap over them. Not close your eyes and pretend like they're not there. They're, you know, put them in the closet so you don't have to worry about them right now. No, you take them as they come. I think that is going to be one thing too that is going to be harder on people when this big event happens, facing themselves, is how much stuff you ignored through your life. Like you weren't healing things along the way. Like you were living as a product of your pain. Is those things are going to be hard, but you just got to put it in perspective. You got to realize, you know, it's going to be hard because the emotions are going to kick your ass. And it's the ego death. And it is like the dark. It's like all the darkness that has shrouded you, that has become a part of you. They go down fighting. It's a battle. So it's a battle to yourself. It's to you, you know, no, that is not what I think. No, I don't care, you know, and whatever things come in your mind and stuff, it's a battlefield in there, you know, and you got to recognize that you are in a war. And just because a thought comes in, that's not you. You got to start figuring out what is you. And, you know, you'll be tested and tested and tested. And so anyways, a lot of that kind of stuff is super scary for people. You know, I mean, you see these videos of the stuff that scares people and what they're so freaked out about and everything. It's like, man, So, anyways, just if you are, don't feel bad or anything. Like, I know that there's tons of people. There's tons of people that this whole thing is freaking them out. And, you know, and like I've said, I mean, that's how the controllers had a hold on people. The people who came in naturally connected, then they started telling them, you know, something's wrong with you. And, you know, and it can be overwhelming, I am sure. And I don't know, because everybody has their own thing. Like, I can't even say, like, a dude who my life experience that I could explain anybody about theirs, because I don't know in the range of what people have had to endure. Nobody does, and nobody knows what anybody is equipped to endure and what they're here to learn or any of that stuff. And so, you know, it very well could have been, you know, I came in for a mission and it's set, and there's destiny, and your lesson plan goes with that mission. And I was meant to have this guidance of this strong light energy that always kept me in a place of understanding that life was about growing. And you know, it was so much for me was the being misunderstood. You know, like I didn't understand that at all. I didn't understand why I was such a outcast, why I was so strange. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with everybody. And that was, you know, that's hard. Anybody who has stood alone and not conformed, and, you know, but I had no choice. That's the thing, is like my inner voice was too strong. That's what I'm saying, is like, you know, if that was not your lesson plan, then you would not have that inner voice. Like, you wouldn't be on that same path. You would be on a different one, because your lessons are about different things, the things you're supposed to learn about yourself and about this place and everything, because that's what everything is about. But everybody has a unique one, and we all keep trying to control everybody else's. And I keep getting this driven home, and it's a lesson that I've been getting for a long time, is that it's like against the universe to try and control somebody else. And I kind of like this situation happened yesterday. And then something, it's always like their information, like how my guides will communicate with me. And so then this other information will come in, and then it'll be conversation. So it's all this different stuff that goes together. And so, but it was more of a confirmation again about this same thing what I'm talking about. And so my one daughter, she messaged me and she asked me if I was going to use my points, which no, my points I had already used to get those kids home from Oklahoma. And then, I had given up, like when the whole thing very first started, you know, I had tickets to New York, and I was like, okay, well, even though all this stuff's going on, surely we'll be back out of our, you know, quarantine won't last forever. You know, this is 2020. And so I had got tickets because I wanted to do Christmas in New York. And my daughter and I had this trip planned, and we had our tickets and stuff. And then, yeah, you know, that got more serious than what we knew going in. Extended a little ways out there, and a drama continued further than we thought. And so that trip got canceled. And so then I was like, okay, well. And then, you know, as you're going through the time too, it's like, fuck, New York's not even gonna be there, man. Like, all you see is these people having these prophetic dreams, this bad stuff out, like all the things, you know, well, the things I see. Like, everybody sees different things, but the things I was seeing was like, oh my gosh, the landscape's gonna change. And what was that? Oh, this map that somebody, I don't even know what it was. It was some map somebody put up, and it had the United States, and then it had something about the ones that would go with Texas. Texas becomes its own, because there's this whole thing, like this drama going on, right, with the federal and state are dividing over the border and all this bullshit. It's all a big show, you know. The stuff is real to the people that is real to, but it's all just a part of the awakening. It's part of the show. And so, and there's more to it. There's more to because it's like the universe uses these things to get us to see things that we don't see, like human rights and stuff. And so anyways, then I had then it was going to be my birthday, and I don't remember if it was 59 or if it was 60, because I know at some point it must have been 59, because 60 I was riding in hard on, like, I am not giving this birthday any fucking power. I'm done giving any emotional power to my birthdays. And I was riding hard on that one on 60. So this might have been 59, but I'd have to go do the math and figure out quarantine stuff. So the Christmas trip got fucked. And then, so we did a Fort Lauderdale. And we're going to go to Fort Lauderdale for my birthday. Then the hurricanes came in. And they canceled all that. So that trip got canceled. And that was like right at the last. It was like the week before or something. And then things just got, to me, things just got worse and worse and worse. So I was like, fuck this. I am fucking done with flying. I'm done with it. Like the stuff you see and what people are going through and what they have to endure to be a part of this game system. It's like, no, this is treating us like fucking cattle, treating us like, no, this is against human rights, man. This is bullshit. And we have the right to travel how we fucking want to, wherever the fuck we want to. It was fucking bullshit. And then the prices and you gotta do this for safety and all this fucking bullshit. It's like, and the whole time, when I see these videos of all this bullshit and all the dramas and all the fucking shit going down with the whole thing with the airlines and everything, and I'm just like, there's no, I don't want to support them. I don't want to go and, like, I've been driving everywhere. And so, and that is where I started seeing what an ordeal that is even, and how much they control our movement. And then you put it all together, and then, we got trains collapsing, we got trucks breaking or wrecking all over the place. So there's just so much control that they have, and it's this constant waving their dick in our face situation to me. But I'm like that, I have this side, like, you fuck with me, like, don't fuck with me. And so, but I'm not like so violent as I was when I was a teenager. Well, when I was still a young adult, and I didn't strangle him. I was just held him. But to me, that's a very aggressive kind of, like, you hold somebody by their neck and scream in their face. It's very, like, if somebody did that to me, well, I'd start hitting them. Like, I'd start pulling their hair. Like, I would start fighting like a wild cat. Like, I would go wild. I don't know. It's just something that happens to me. But, yeah, so it's really mean. And I think, I was so mad at my dad. I was so mad at I was so mad as a kid, as a teenager. I was mad. I was mad at the world. And, so that's why I could recognize when this girl was here and her anger and stuff. I was like, you can't can't be mad at the world. You got to let it go. It's not the world's fault. And, but, it's just something you can recognize when you've been there. And so, I was just, hard, and I was angry. And then, you see yourself as like being out of control and mental, especially when people are always telling you that. You're so mental, you're so out of control, you're so this, you're so that, I was like, God, can't please anybody. I gave up a long time ago. It's like I was too much of a lot of stuff for everybody. And it was nothing me talking about what I think is always just weird. So, anyway, and it's weird too, as like when people like want you around, but then they don't want you to open your mouth. Like, that's like, I don't know. There's lessons in everything, I'm telling you. Everything is about lessons. But so my daughter, messaged me, and she had asked about the points, because we had already used those points to get those kids out of Oklahoma when they were in that big crisis. I don't even remember what it was. Fucking who knows, teenagers. And then so got him back to Washington, and then whatever points were left. But my daughter had did all that. I didn't have anything to do with it, because I'm just like, fuck this system about everything. Fuck this. I'm like, yeah, go ahead. I don't give a shit. I don't care about that. So she messaged me, and she wanted to know if she could have my ticket or the points if I was going to use them. And I was like, hell to no, I'm not going to use them. And I'm not going to go put myself through that shit to go fly somewhere. Yeah, I want to go to Scotland real bad, because then a couple days before that, there was discount tickets to Scotland. And then right away, oh, I've been talking to my sister. I got to talk about that too. And she brought up about, well, that's where she's going. She's going to Scotland. And so Scotland keeps being on my thing. And, I wanted to go there for a long time, because I've got family, and even in their new rules or whatever, in these peace treaty, or the new rules for humanity or something, everywhere you have your blood to your ancestry, you are, that's your place. It's your birthright. And, oh, this is weird too, is this copper iron thing. I got to talk about that too, because this is something that just keeps coming to me all of a sudden. It was like, okay, so I got to talk about that too, the copper and the iron thing, my sister. So anyways, on the ticket thing, so she said that she wanted to go to, I just realized what a long story this is for this weird thing I'm about to come to talk to. So she wanted the points, and I was like, yeah, go ahead, you can have them, I don't care. And so I said, what are you doing, where are you going, or whatever. And she said that they want to go to Vegas. Her and her partner want to go to Vegas, and then this is in March. And so this is like, so I'm just like, okay, stay calm. Let it go. And so go to March in Vegas. And plus I was thinking, okay, March, like, fuck, surely things have got to be getting safer. Because I think, once we go over this, like, jump, it is not going to be the same kind of danger. Like, there's going to be a lot of arrests and stuff like that. A lot of diffusion of things, like, a lot of these war criminals or whatever that they've sent over here to get us. It'll be like, whatever will go on, there'll be a lot of takedown. Who knows if there's going to be a battle. Like I said, it seems like to me that maybe it is like they're being signaled they think it's one side telling them to go someplace or be somewhere. And maybe there's like a real, low-key takedown of some of these really bad ones. Like, but there will be, however it all goes, once we get past this hump and things turn the other direction, it's the violence that we're going to be around then is going to be the people who we are around, the other folk, the anger, the bitterness, the confusion, the sadness, the defeat, all the stuff that they got to go through, this emotional fucking, it's going to be intense. Like, it's going to be intense. People think like, oh, this is so intense. This part coming up is going to be real. It's not going to be a show. This show is to try and diffuse what's coming. Because it's going to be a lot of overreaction. It's going to be hard. People are really going to struggle. And if you've never looked at yourself in the mirror, well, I mean, we've all looked at ourselves in the mirror and been dissatisfied. But if you've never looked at yourself in the mirror spiritually, that is going to really impact you. And it's going to be very, very difficult. And so, and that's for each soul to realize they can overcome it and who and what they are and stuff, and it's a literal battleground. So the people who have, we think, because now I'm going back to this, the story on the plane ticket thing. So I don't know if I'm leaving off on the edge there. Maybe I'll pick it up somewhere else. I have no idea where I'm at. So, but I'm supposed to go back over here at the airport. So anyway, she said that they wanted to go to Vegas and see Adele. And then they were going to fly to Cozumel. And, Mexico has always been one of our favorite places. Ever since she was a kid, like that was always one of my favorite places. I always want to go to Mexico. I love Mexico. And then that's another place that keeps coming into my thing. Like there's a guy I follow who does Mexico. He lives in Mexico, and I don't know, he's always seems to be talking to people who just ridicule Mexicans and stuff like that in Mexico and everything. So he was walking around yesterday in, I don't remember what city, but it was beautiful. It was just like every other city. It wasn't like poor looking or anything. It was really, really beautiful. And I don't know, Mexico is a huge draw to me always, and in Scotland. And so anyways, I have these things because I have this feeling of like letting go of all of this, right? And it's been, throughout, it's supposed to happen too. I feel like I was supposed to like be so locked in here and see things from the perspective. And then I was supposed to be ready to move on. I was supposed to outgrow this. But, I don't know what's going to be, maybe I'll have Forbes Matt. Like I just saw this psychic person or channeler. I'm not sure what they call themselves, but they said that they think that the map is just by the bad people just put out stuff, and then if it works, then they use it to tell us it's prophetic or something. I don't know. I think that the landscape is going to change. And then, that goes back to Dolores Cannon stuff to me too, and then just knowing like, where is our history and stuff? It's all becomes buried. It's like, and how do we work? If we're laying somewhere too long and it feels raw, it feels cold, we want to turn over. So it's the same thing the earth is doing. It's just moving around. So it doesn't seem strange to me. It seems like cycles. It seems like, oh, she's moving again. And so, to me, that is definitely going to happen. But then how Dolores Cannon has said all these, these high-ranking military officials were retiring up by her in the high mountains. And somewhere in a conversation or something, led her to see the naval map, which the naval map is but if that's where they're trying to put stuff out, but then why are they all moving up in the high mountains? So I think that there's something to it. The water's going to raise because the firmament's going to go, and the ice wall. So where's all the water going to go? The water is going to have to go. And then in all these volcanoes and all this eruption, the landscape is changing. And then the people who are connected to her, to this place, to this energy, they will be directed to places. It will all happen naturally, and they'll be directed to places that will be places that will, be there, survive. I think a lot of people will be directed to them to go there and, create communities and draw on more people. Like, I think there's going to be a lot of shifting, but there's going to be a lot of anger and stuff. But it's going to be a different kind of not safe, Like right now, it's kind of not safe because like as the people are kind of shorting out. It's like they've all been on autopilot, and everything is just like, it's like this shorting out. Like the reality is shifting where you can't just be on autopilot. And the autopilot people become very uncomfortable to realize about reality. So there's just like this, this shifting in perspective, a lot of shifting going around. And so that is, makes more chaotic and it's very dangerous because there's all this set up to get us while we're not looking, and sneak up on us and get us one by one and take us out in the dark and stuff. So they have all these like shifty plans with letting out all these, these war criminals or whatever these people are, these Like there's serious like cartel terror. These are serious people up in the business. So like, and go here and create some crime, and then you've got all these other up and comers. That are underneath them. Like you get that place, that place, that place. It's like fucking. And then you just look too, like the CIA with the Manson family at Spawn Ranch. It's like, this is just how they do things. This is what they do. And they probably have all these people strung out on some kind of fucking shit. There's just this police bust of some councilman or congressman or something just in his car. And he was asleep with his crack pipe on his chest. He fell asleep. It just seems like the whole thing seems so fake. Everything seems so fake to me. And then he gets busted, and he's being reprimanded by the cop. But he's making an excuse. Well, he had been sober for 13 years. He'd been off the crack. But then his wife left him, so now he got back on the crack, and now he's already busted and fallen asleep in his car with his crack pipe sitting on his chest. And all this stuff is just so ridiculous and absurd, all this shit going on. But anyways, I'm still on this long story. So, my daughter wanted to do that thing. And I was like reeling it in the whole time. I was like, I am not going to be negative. I am not going to say anything negative. I'm not going to be a Debbie Downer about any of this stuff. I was just like, oh, cool. And so then she starts saying, this is my bucket list. I don't care anymore. Like, whatever is going to happen is going to happen. This is something that is important to me. I want to go see Adele. I start crying even when I just think about it. And she gets so excited how much her songs mean to her and how much she's helped her through different times of her life and stuff, and how important she feels like, and how important it is for her to get to go to this concert in Vegas, and then how then they want to go to Mexico. It's like, fuck yeah, I totally relate. And and as a mom, it's like, oh my god, danger, what's going to be going on? Everything's still unsettled. Who knows? They keep dragging this shit out. I don't see how they could drag it out till March. It's got to go down. I feel like that this month is so jam-packed that this week is going to be significant. Like, it is going to, I still think we're not, like, everything, there's going to be a huge collapse before the end of January. Like, I just don't see how they can get it into February. There's so much going. I don't see how they can just drag it out, but they've surprised me in the past. Like, some of the shit they've drug out, and they just pretend like it's not happening. Like, anything wouldn't surprise me. All of a sudden they just pretend like Joe was never in Texas. Nothing's going on down there. Don't pay any attention. It's like, what the fuck? So weird. But so anyways, my instincts are to jump in and you should do this, you shouldn't do that, you should do that. But the lessons that I'm getting so strong is that is absolutely somebody listening to their own guidance, and we, as anyone else, has no right to tell them to stop listening to their own self. We've got to become more comfortable, no matter what the challenge is, no matter who it is telling you, no matter if it's your crazy mom, and she's decided she's gonna move to the Bahamas and go be, a surfer or something. And you got to, is one of the things that is coming in too, is about how many people on their deathbed, that's their biggest regret, is being held back, not following through their dreams, not following their own guidance, being held back. And so if you're the person who's holding it back, you see that imbalance on the energy. See, that's the long story. You see, I go way back there where I started that, but see where I was going with it. And so the imbalance of that, of telling somebody what they should or shouldn't do and putting pressure on them with your logic or what helps you feel better, like you trying to control this reality. So you don't have to feel like, oh, I don't want anything to happen, so I'm going to talk her out of that. I'm going to, we've got to start reeling that stuff in as spiritual beings, because as the spiritual part, we've got to allow everyone their time and space to experience what they came to experience. And so many people don't experience because then they want to please other people. Like, there's so much of that keeps coming to me too. And so this whole thing of what I was talking about, like this, the group kind of mind, there's somebody who was just explaining it too. And I can't remember how they said it because they had 3 things labeled. And the one group, who would be me, like, what did he call them? I don't think he called them the outsiders, something like that. The outsiders are the ones that just, follow themselves. They don't do stuff just because everybody else is saying to do it or whatever. And they just don't really give a fuck. And so that's where I'm at, those people. And then the next group, he called them sheep, I think. And then on that group, he said that their number one desire inside of them is like about acceptance and getting people to like them and all that stuff that I was saying yesterday about what these certain people have, this characteristics. He was saying it, the same things. So there's other people who are saying like the same kind of things. They're not just saying, oh, these people are asleep, these people are stupid. No, it is certain characteristics like inside of people that binds them to it. It's like it's all about just wanting to be the part of everything, not wanting to stand out, not wanting to be weird, not wanting to be an outcast, just wanting to be in the safety net and comfort, which, that's a whole thing about souls too. Like so many souls, like they go back and it's like, oh, I remember now. Oh, I'm back. Oh, everybody, and energetically you feel safe. So they're trying to energetically feel safe in this world. So it's not like anybody's doing something wrong. Like you try and say something like connotation like sheep or something. And I don't know if he means it in a mean way or if he just means it because sheep stick together, And, it's not been easy to be one of the people who are on the outside, because you feel rejected. You feel like a lot of things. So, misunderstood. That was such a huge one to me. Always feeling I had to explain myself. Always feeling misunderstood. And always in all of the weird things that they think of as being like diagnoses and something wrong with you, I've always seen as being just characteristics, just people. And so I've always seen some of that stuff as just such bullshit. I've always seen through so much of their bullshit. But, in the group that becomes like-minded, there's an acceptance. But then he said there's a third group. In the third group, what did he call them? They were dark. It was something dark. I don't remember. But he said that's the group that, I don't even remember all the things he said about it, but that's the group who is like the police of the other group. It's the SJWs. It's like, you do this. It's the, it's like the pod people are ones out there yelling, oh, like, they're the, and I don't remember what he was saying about the characteristics of what it is that they're trying to do. I'm sure it's all about fear and control and, but those are all the different things that they are is what the soul is there to learn and grow. So you got to be able to see yourself and see these different parts of yourself. And your lives or lifetimes are trying to express to you. It's like express out and show you what you can't see. So it's trying to show you parts of yourself so you can see parts of yourself that you don't have recognition of, that you don't understand. So it's important to be able to recognize them, not turn away, not, there's a huge part of accepting yourself. And I would just say, if you're having a hard time with that, just keep stepping back until you can see yourself and give yourself mercy. So step back as an observer and don't, try and not be so caught up in it. And I know it's hard because I know a lot of people just really hate themselves and they feel like horrible about themselves. But remember, this is a shift. This is to bring stuff up. It's not going to just stay. There will be a shift and things will become more clear. It will become more clear how to work through it, to understand it, Like this is just it's like a turning of a wheel. It's like it's all got to go. It's like a grinding of the gears. It's all like got to have these certain things. And so and that's a part of like these energetic things coming in and bringing in this energy. It's all about, you know, being able to heal and stuff. And one of the things that keeps coming to is, okay, so we're already on the hair thing, right? So I'll do the little show on the hair. And it's trippy too, is like I said, like with the iridescent thing or something, like you turn the hair and then it'll be like darker or lighter, but it's the same hair. It's like as the hair is filling in with color, it's really trippy to watch this. Because when it was going out with the color, it was a lot more gradual. You know, this is going a lot faster, which to me seems like a lot more of a mineral shortage inside of me. So, and so I feel like for it to be slowly, you know, this part I would say has got to be the most hardest too. It's been like 10 years. Is that like the part that was going super, super fast, and maybe it was like I was so short and then it was filling in so fast, but then it got to a place where it was like, okay, if it's feeling better, it could slow down a little. I don't know. Or this could be super resistant. I don't know. You know, it's only been like a month. And so to me, and on the eyebrows, I can see a difference all the time too of them getting darker. And then I've been putting castor oil too. So castor oil, I just put castor oil all over. And the castor oil also promotes hair growth. So I'm hoping that any, you know, fill in and then also fill in with colored hair and not white hair. And then the hairs that are turning from white to back to brownish color. And then the hair is like I was saying, there's like a red tone to it. But I remember back in high school, like where there would be kids be like, "Oh, your hair's so red," and I'm always thinking my brother has red hair. It's like my hair's not red. They would be like, "Yeah, it is." So there was reddish in my hair, and but I think that the color goes like I swear it's like as the minerals go out of you, it's like the color and stuff. And then I think women compensate and they go get their hair colored and stuff, so they think like they're doing the right thing, but we were always doing things backwards, because we should have always been like, well, you know, what is our body trying to tell us? What's my hair trying to tell me? We were so distracted through life. It's so crazy. So anyways, in the texture and everything. And I feel like it's so much more healthy, and the color is so much more rich. And when yesterday we went out for a walk, and it's so crappy out, but she just is relentless. She just is like, I don't give a fuck. We gotta get out there. I gotta see what's going on in the neighborhood. I was like, God damn. So we were out there, and it was kind of bright, and it's weird because there's like no sun. It's like this total fog. That's one thing I can't stand too. It's like we're fogged in all the time. Go out, I'll start feeling really lightheaded. I'll come in, I'll feel like I know we're breathing in these fucking bullshit gases, but she sits out either eating the goddamn snow. But you got motherfuckers, there's people who are literally putting out recipes on eating the snow. They're going and scooping up motherfucking snow and taking it in and making recipes with it. It's like, do you, how, all the chemicals? Like, and there was an electrician I saw a video and he was doing, and he said, what did he call it? Osmosis or something, some kind of smell. And so you got to be aware of this smell, and it has a very distinct smell, and it's like a fire. It's like this chemical fire reaction smell or something. So this guy's explaining all about this. And so he said that he was talking about that because he was out and he had picked up some snow and he was like crunching his hand and he was just letting it melt. But then all of a sudden he realized he smelt that smell. And so he was like, what the hell? Why would that smell up? Yeah, he went and did all this research and stuff. But to me, and the cause, what it would cause, all the stuff that people have symptoms of, all what he looked up in his research about this osmo, like, I don't know, like I said, I can't repeat other people's stuff. I can just say, like, it was an overall thing that I had seen of him saying about the chemical in the snow and about it making people so sick. There was some more stuff too. Like, there's a bunch of stuff. Like, I don't think this snow thing is by accident. That everybody has this snow, and then here we have so much, and there's supposed to be all this rain, and then where's all this snow gonna go and all this rain at the same fucking time? And but I don't think that these things are gonna keep going. But we're going to have big ones. Like, there's going to be volcanoes and all that kind of stuff that's going to keep going because the earth is really changing. This really is like a reset. This really is the end of a cycle. This really is a cataclysm. But we aren't the same as we were back during these other periods. So now we are advancing. And part of the advancement is the understanding who and what you are. And you're eternal. That this is... And I've seen more stuff now too where they said that they can take your consciousness out and move it around. Like, I know that that's what that fucking maid's all about. Like, all their fucking shit. And those fucking giants, those motherfucking giants have got to have consciousness. Like, it's fucking weird. And why the hell do they give them food and drinks and stuff? They're fucking puppets. And why the puppets seem so real, like when they look around and just when they move and their expressions in their face. And what is the point of making these giant ass puppets? Like, what? Like, who's got money for this shit? Like, what in the hell? Where would you even house them all? And you can't even believe how many. If you haven't seen this stuff about these giant puppets, and it seems like it's part of disclosure because of how much it just is like bombard so much every day I see about these motherfucking puppets. I was like, fuck. So the but the other thing that I was gonna say, so with the hair thing, and so we were out, so I was out walking with Stella and we're being gassed and it's weird color outside, but so I could see her really good out in the light. I was like, oh my gosh, her hair is looking so red. It's like her hair, and she's not drinking near as much copper as I am. And I'm doing like little magnesium squirts. So it's literally the minerals. It's literally our minerals are being depleted out of us. And just giving some minerals back. Plus I got the Celtic salt. Plus I got another one. Because the Celtic salt has gone up so expensive because it's so highly mineralizing. And it's really, really good. Like I have the really crunchy big ones. And yesterday I was just baking it. I was like, that's one thing I wanted to talk about too, is like yesterday and time and how weird. But let me think of all the things that I was going to talk about. Because I still got my sister and this iron and copper thing. Okay, so I'm on the iron and copper thing. And so but when I use that, I put some of that crunchy salt in the cookies, stirred up, and then when you're eating the cookie and get one of those chunks of it, it's so good. It's really, really good. And and it's so full of minerals that we need. And so that the Celtic sea salt, and then there's another one, and I can't remember, and I ordered it yesterday. It is, I ordered three things recently. This tooth powder, this silk dental floss. So it's not, because there's a whole thing about the dental floss. Like, if you don't know about the dental floss too, like every motherfucking thing is to poisonous. So anyways, it's this, different kind of dental floss. And then, so I ordered that. And then, what was the other thing that I got? I have no idea what I was going to say. It seemed like it had something to do with what I was talking about. But it was something. I don't know. I'll remember probably in a second. And then, so the iron and the copper with the with the blood. So anyways, I've seen these videos. So this one video was this lady, and so I have been saying, oh yeah, the salt, this other sea salt from, I don't know, Gold Mountain sea salt or something. I don't know, some other kind of, like from the Bahamas or something, sea salt. And it's a little bit cheaper. So, but it'll go up, because that's what happened with the Celtic salt. Like, it was cheap, I guess, apparently last year. And then when everybody jumped on and found out it was good for you, then it went up. So that is, what this girl was saying would happen with this one. So I got them both. I was like, man, I'm really into this minerals thing now. I'm gonna try and figure out more about if this all has selenium in it, but if it doesn't, I also want to get selenium. But so this other video, I had seen this woman, and she was talking about the blood, the Rh negative. Like, you get these people who really start going off on the Rh negative, and I don't know what her deal was. I didn't listen to her. I've seen her, and I think that she's got a big following. And she was saying, like, you know, let's see how many more, like, I lost a couple hundred of you. Let's see how many more we can lose. But this is when you should be listening. This is when you're going to learn something or something. And so she was talking about, it seemed like she's Rh negative, and she's talking about these two different kinds of Rh negative blood or something. I don't know. I didn't listen. And what weirds me out, though, is I've had Rh negative husbands, and I'm always like, you know, there's something to it. There's something more to it. Nothing's by accident. And this polarization. But everything is to teach you, though. You know, it depends on how you use your information. If you learn from it, or you let it beat you down. So the salt. Oh yeah, okay. So this woman, she was talking about this iron and copper thing, and so I was like, oh, see, I knew there would be some other different bloods. There would be some different minerals. Like, not everybody may not have the same results drinking from the copper vessel, because maybe they need to drink from an iron mug. Like, I don't know. I like the other thing, because I cook from my cast iron all the time, and that is supposed to be supposedly how we used to get a lot of our iron. And so I would say, you know, get back to basics and cook on cast iron, and you know, that will start giving you back iron if that is something that is depleted in your blood. Because I've been doing that a long time. So if I had iron depleted in my blood, that would also go along with it, with this other stuff. Is the copper seems like what I was really being depleted of. And but so there's certain people who have more copper blood and more iron. And so she was talking about Rh negative, but the next video I saw was just talking about the copper and the iron. And it was saying that the blue bloods, so the blue bloods needed more copper. And see, my blood looked always blue in my thing. And my grandma, I would even say, why does our blood look blue in our skin? And my grandma would say, well, when it's blue inside of you, but when you get a cut, it gets oxygen and then it turns red. And so I just always thought, you know, our blood's blue inside of us until it hits oxygen. And, you know, but I don't know. It's just what I was told when I was little. And then, and there were some other things that were like linked to me. Like, it's something about the moon and the zodiac or something, or some other things this guy was saying. I was like, oh, and that goes with that other video I had seen, where that guy was talking about your zodiac, you have certain minerals. Each zodiac has certain minerals it needs, or is easily depleted or something from them. And so it was like, oh, so, you know, that has to do with my zodiac. And so whatever he was saying. And then he was saying about the iron and about the stuff that you would have problems with. But all these different things are all about this lacking these minerals inside of our blood, which I keep going back to. That is what aging is. There is no such thing as aging like what they have told us. They have depleted us and we walked right through that door. You know, I'm telling you, especially when you talk to people, when you try and tell them like the results I'm having, Because it's not just my hair. Like, my hair is the thing that you can see. My hair is the thing you can watch change. But I also, inside of me, how I feel, how much better I feel. And then to watch the process of the hair filling back in. Like, the hair was so starved. You just had to give it a little bit of what it needs. And it was like, oh, it's thirsty. I'm so thirsty. And so then it's like you get this total different look of it. And then when you try and tell these people, oh, well, I love my gray hair. And I did have somebody yesterday tell me, because I did a video on TikTok to do an update one. And then, people are always like, because when you have some hair like that, you get a lot of compliments. And they're just like, oh, I loved your gray. It's like, yeah, I did too. But it's a sign of a mineral deficiency, and I'd rather stay healthy. But there's a lot of people who choose the looks, the aesthetics, the gray. Like, it looks good and they look good in it. And so they'd rather have this hair, and then to think like your hair could go back to being healthy. Well, that's just outrageous to even consider. Like, and to even have that one person tell me like, well, I like my hair better this color. It's like, yeah, but what is the point is you're dying. Like, the point is that you need these minerals to survive, and your body is giving you like the temperature gauge is on red alert, and you're just like, no, I'm good. I've got some aches and pains, but I'm getting old, but I look good doing it. It's like, yeah, but you are dying, and you think you're aging, and you are dying because you don't have enough minerals inside of you. So to me, it's just like, you gotta look deeper into stuff. But it's, it's surprising. But I think, we're gonna go into that energy where people who are, have gray hair and stuff are gonna start being like, going more into minerals and stuff when they start seeing other people that are healing and stuff from minerals and vitamins and, but I had talked to my sister, so, her birthday is the 18th. And so I had said, happy birthday. My brother's birthday is the 15th. And I told him happy birthday. He was just like, thanks. And, but he's like, he'd be super, super busy. My sister, she could be super busy, but she was still, she's a girl. She'll still talk like while she's busy. Boys will just go, do, especially, my brother's always hanging out with his other fireman friends and stuff. So, he's got a lot going on, my brother. Anyways, so, I don't take it personally because he didn't want to chat, but he could still be, resentful towards me. Like, there's still, I don't know at what point, how many things have to occur before those of us who were saying something that they're like, oh, well, maybe we shouldn't be so hard on them. Maybe we shouldn't be mad at them. Maybe they were telling us something we should have been listening to the whole time. Like, I don't know when that's all going to go down. But, so I'm not going to, take it personally. And then plus, everybody will have to go through their own process. Not everybody's going to jump up and go, oh my God, I can't believe I was, they've got to go through their own shame and humiliation privately of like, oh my God, what the fuck? So, I'm not looking for anybody to say something. But anyways, my sister and I started chatting. And so we've been talking like a whole bunch, all these different days. And so it was like, oh, just open up the phone lines, and we've just been chatting and not talking about any hot subjects. I have said a few things, like about the planet, about the poisons and stuff like that. But, not talking about the things that were the great divide that happened in our family was definitely over government and medical intervention. And so didn't talk about any of that. Well, I did talk some about with Western Med. and how they failed me. And that's why I've gone totally into natural, is that's what we've been talking so much about, and how she's trying to go more like that in everything that she's doing, that she's seeing a benefit. And she has lupus. She's been autoimmune for a long time, and she's gotten, well, you got this one. Oh, no, you have this one. Oh, the Western medicine bullshit. And they've even, like, she goes and sits and get infusions. Like, she's on all sorts of meds and stuff. And, and that shit just makes you sicker and sicker. And so I've said my story and stuff. So I guess, I did complain about stuff like that, but I didn't say anything about, interventions per se. I said, I don't even take aspirin or Tylenol or anything. I said, I just want nothing to do with any of their chemicals. I do everything I can to detox. There's enough environmental toxins. And it's so ridiculous, too, is when you start hearing about all this stuff about what is that stuff called that they want everybody to do for cancer, that treatment. And they try and get everybody to do it. Oh, that's what you got to do. Well, it's probably a big market why they've got everybody come in and get a physical, because they know everybody's got cancer and they want everybody to get on these new treatments and shit. It's like, no, don't do the motherfucking treatments. Do fucking natural shit. Your body will heal. Don't do their bullshit. And, but that's what they want to do, is get everybody on their bullshit. But that treatment that they want everybody to take is poison. It's like, I just saw a thing talking about it's the same stuff they use in nerve gas. It's like they're fucking, and people go take poison to get rid of the effects of poison because they think it's a sickness. No, it's a motherfucking poison. You got poison, and you're using poison to try and to get rid of this poison. It's not gonna work. So, but, that's for people to come into their own senses, their own, like, realization. Because otherwise you're just living, taking a knee to the god of doctoring, the medical gods of the world. Oh, whatever you say, I will do. And, like that was going to work out. Like they wouldn't start, profiting off of that submission. Like there's always going to be somebody who wants submission and profit off of it. And then the people who jump on board, well, if you're going to do it, I'm doing it too. I want some of that good hard cash. It's like, it's not worth it. It's not worth that dark energy attachment. So, anyways, the talking to her, so she's doing the copper cup and stuff. So she's doing it now. And she's trying to get more. She already had started, like she said that she started on med water instead of doing coffee anymore. And she said that she couldn't believe the big difference. And that is what I've heard from everybody who has done that, is changed how they're, I guess you don't get the jitters and stuff like that, but you start seeing benefits in your body. You actually start feeling better. And so all the different people, so getting off of coffee, I'm sure there's the same kind of shit like what they do in cigarettes. They get everybody hooked on coffee, and then they add a lot of shit to it. Same thing that they did with cigarettes. Same thing they do with everything. I'm sure they fucking do that with my weed. Like sometimes I'll get out one of those cigarettes and take a little puff. It's like breathing in a whole toxic chemical fucking thing. It's like, god damn. Like, what the hell is this shit? It's like government interference. That's why they want fucking licensing and bullshit like that. It's a motherfucking plant. We gotta have fucking lights. Fucking nonsense, man. Such fucking nonsense. What we've allowed, because we have allowed it all. And, but one thing that was really cool, because I had talked about this before with my sister, because my sister and my brother, the two that have birthdays right next to each other, they have, so they're the same sign too, but they have a developed pattern. And it had been a pattern that had been all the way back from when we were kids. Like, I don't know how young, but, teenagers for sure. But my sister always was needing to be rescued. And my brother would always step up to rescue her. And so as, we've gotten older and older and older, he's grown more resentment and become more like, it is a toxic thing that happens. Because the savior becomes more mad at the person that they're having to save. Like, it's one thing when they're saving them in the beginning and can feel like good about it, but then after a while it starts becoming a burden, a pattern, and they become resentful. But then they also start getting to where they don't believe in the person anymore, like that they think that that person just needs constant rescuing. And so they don't believe in him anymore, and so the person stops believing in themselves and just becomes dependent on this person saving them. So they rely on this person, so the energy becomes more interfering and toxic to the two people. And that's why I say it becomes like a toxic relationship when something becomes out of balance like that. And so you don't want somebody to just be saving you. And someone, my brother was complaining about, the situation, and I called him out on his part, because I'm not, going to call out on somebody else. It's like, you got to see your part. If you want to change, you want something to change, you got to see what you're doing. You got a God complex going on. You have a thing about needing to save her. You got to let her fall. She has to learn to save herself. That's what we all have to learn, to save ourselves. You can't just be the crutch for somebody, because then somebody thinks they need a crutch. They forget. They stop believing in themselves. They, I can see a lot of stuff about it. It's just toxic. That's all I can say. It's toxic. And so so anyways, proudly, she told me yesterday that she hasn't had to borrow any money from my brother for a year. She had sent them some little gifts. She felt so, it's just gonna make me even cry. And so she was feeling so confident and good about herself. I was like, see, that's what people need. It isn't good to just be like, oh, see, they need me again, and I've got to go over there, and I got to do that. It's like, don't do it. Let them figure it out for themselves. That saving themselves is going to be the blessing. You always thinking you've got to step in is like, because you don't have good boundaries. You got in your mind that they need you. It's like, whatever you got going, it's you that's got to figure that out. You got to see your part, you're playing. And so whatever happened with them, I don't know. I don't know if me telling him to stop, you got to let her fall. You got to let her, and it's hard. Nobody wants to watch somebody struggle. And she was going through struggle. But sometimes when somebody stops believing in themselves, they set those patterns up in the will. Because as you're on that trajectory and that timeline, you're showing yourself. And then sometimes you don't want to see what you're being shown. So you're fighting against it and calling it something different. And that's why it's important to see the truth, see what's real, not be on with blinders looking at things. So, and I don't know how it played out with them, because I obviously had been a year since I'd even talked. And so, but whatever happened, he either stopped saving her or she stopped needing saving for now, because don't ever feel bad if you step back into your patterns. These are patterns that have been built up. They're patterns we've established through our programming. And it's a lot to break them, but you can't break somebody else's. You can only break your own. So that's why you have to recognize and witness yourself. So that's why being keen on observation, of observing yourself through life and being able to step back and see yourself, not being caught up in all the dramas and not always feeling like the victim, like everybody's out to get you, everybody's going to hurt you. Recognizing you're hurting people too. You're hurting them, you're hurting that guy over there. We hurt each other. That's how it works. It's just the way it is. And, you can sit there and whine and cry and feel sorry for yourself and think you're the only one being hurt. But, we're all going through it. And everybody's got to learn how to pick themselves back up and keep themselves going. Learning how to readjust, to champion yourself, to just keep going, even when things seem like they're too hard. It's just get up and go. Just get up and go. And, and pretty soon the struggle, you are where you want to be. And, and then you got a story of how you got there. You just got up and went each day. You just got back up. You just got back up. And then all of a sudden you're right where you want to be. So it's, and see, this is the kind of stuff that they're always showing me. and all these different lessons and stuff. But the one with my sister, like there was there's more stuff that they will show me, just like these patterns of development of what people do and how it is important for you, because you can't stop somebody else. Like let's just say, for instance, let's take the case study of my brother and sister, because we all have this. Like some of us, we are the person in that pairing. Like we all have these relationship pairings in our lives. Is like these templates, and each person may do like a little thing different or something, but that is like we are all just playing this stuff out. So it's just like you're playing it out and then seeing what you can do with it. It's like going to, those painting, like those paint and sips, and you go in the thing and everybody goes in and there's a teacher up there and they do this one painting and everybody copies her painting. You just get this one palette of just these certain colors, and it's a big deal if you ask for more colors too. And well, depends on which ones you go to. They're all like privately owned, usually different artists put these on and stuff. And so then you go and you paint it, and then everybody holds up their paintings, and everybody's paintings are a little bit different, as everybody's has a little bit lean into themselves. And so it's kind of like that. It's like life is this giant room of paintings, and then there is somebody holding one up at the front. It just depends on whose painting you're looking at. Like if you're watching Kim Kardashian's painting, you may go down a dark path. It depends on where your focus is, where you put your energy. But it is all the different ways of looking at things. So anyways, the same things can be happening in all of our lives, but there can be slight variations by just of how we different look at things and stuff like that. But so but like if you take this case study with my brother and my sister, then if what was I going to say about it? There was something I was going to say about it, and then I always go off on some long-winded shit. That is one thing, I am long-winded. I can tell a story. Like, that's something, too, that'll drive people crazy with. Like, you go and you sit and listen to this, like, it's one thing. You're like, oh, I'm going to go listen to Kelly for a while. It's going to be a long, all over the place. But when you're just, like, interacting with me, like, on the daily, regular thing, and I just go off on these stories. I'll just start telling something and people are just like, ugh. So, I don't know. It's funny because some of the things that I think, everything has a good side and a bad side. And, I can see that I have some things that are not, there's good sides and bad sides. We all have them. But what was that I was going to say about this case study about the needing, because it is like this, it can feed your ego, if somebody needs you. And, you had to rescue them. And even in the beginning, it can feel like, kind of bragging rights. Like, well, obviously, I'm doing pretty damn good. I'm doing better than them. They need me to rescue them. So you got to see that sides of yourself. This kind of ego inflation. And that is something that the dark energy is good at. Getting you with this inflation of ego. Because I think the light, when you lean more into the light, it is a lot more humbling. Like it's way more humbling. I think that the other side, the dark, the ego-driven side is, pumps you up, and, gets people all cocky and thinking they know better than other people and stuff like that. But when you go on the light, it's very humbling. It's always pointing out things to just humble you. Like if you think like, oh, well, I know all about that, then there'll be something that will come to show you. You don't know anything at all. So it's all, it's a humbling excursion when you're leaning on the right, but that is to just keep you in awareness. It's like the balance that's needed for the ego, is the ego is so puffy, but the ego is also, you know, trying to protect you and take care of you. But anyways, you know, those are the balances that you need to find, though, is that it's just like between inflation and between the, it's like this humbling, it's this humbled lifestyle, this whole humbling, it's like there's two completely different lifestyles, like these poles. And so you got to find yourself in between. You know, not everybody's going to be in the exact same place, and we're not supposed to be. We're not all supposed to be. You know, we're supposed to all just be more accepting of one another, I think. And then I saw a video, it was talking about our DNA and stuff. And it could have been something too with this blood, with the copper and stuff. Yeah, it was, because it was talking about the copper as reptilian. But I had said before, like, we all have different DNA. You know, supposedly it was like 13 different DNAs to create the avatar or something, the being that we were all going into. So it was like all these different DNAs to, like, it's all a part of, like, all a part of this experiment, this galactic experiment, taking all these different ones and then putting them in is like to stop the war, to stop the division. It's like put all these different philosophies in one being and have them resolve it inside themselves. And then that will change the world. That's weird. Because that is like what it is. Like, we have to resolve, because it is like when we resolve all these different things, that is what moves us up into this galactic, like, where we get to be at the conference table or something, where we get recognized as viable beings. But that's just the human experience. That's not you. I think people get so caught up in being human. Your soul is not human. Your soul is an energy. And your soul it's just not human. Human is like a being, you know, just like a dog, a cat, a giraffe, a bird. It's all just beings of experience. But the thing about human beings, you know, and it started out as this big science project all that way back, was this blending of all of these DNAs and stuff that was going to make people more understanding or something of one another, and more accepting. Like, that is why it's a big part of our evolution, of learning to accept one another, accept ourselves, and then accept one another. And then these certain parts of ourselves that are from other beings, because he was explaining this stuff about the reptilian parts of ourselves. And so it is kind of like you have to accept these certain parts of yourself. You got to accept all these different parts of other people. But we're all like this huge blending, this big blending. But also, you got to remember, you're not the human being. You're just the energy. It's kind of like, you know, you're the parasite. This is the host. And you're the energy that comes in. And but really, it isn't like that, because it's like you, the energy, that you, like, this birthing into this vibration, into this frequency, this birthing into it, is going through another, like, this tunneling, this birthing in. So when you are birthed into that vibration, that is like, you become the reflection. But there is something to the density that is like like I just can't help but think of it like a glove or something, like a space suit. So there's something that surrounds you that is like an energetic solutions coming to my mind, but like an energetic solution to keep you being recognized, so you can be recognized. But it's also, it has to do with you recognizing yourself, because the parts that you are showing yourself are the parts for you to heal. And that's why I said, like, your DNA and stuff, like your physicality, all represents things for you to take a harder look at, to what you're working on. It's like you are morphed into that. That's what you come out as, is like this stuff that you are here to work on. But it's like, it's so you can see yourself. So it's not like, it's just weird, because it's like people always want to put things into like flesh and blood and stuff, but it's not like that. Is like this but it is this way of being able to push yourself out and see yourself for the experience, so you can experience. Oh, and you know what's weird too, like, I don't even know if I'm explaining that right. Like, I can see it, but I don't know, I'll have to come to me more. Like, some of the things, like, I can see it and it makes total sense to me, but I don't know how to fucking explain it. But that is one thing that I will say, is like yesterday, so I got up and did my recording, and I had no fucking sleep. It was like the weirdest night. And so then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna lay back down and try and go to sleep. Immediately she jumps up, like hell to the no. It's like every fucking time I'll get relaxed, it's like something pushes her to jolt me awake. And so I'm like, oh my God. So I get up and I'm like, okay, fuck it. No, obviously that's not happening. And get up, turn on the lights, start doing stuff, right? And then, and I didn't ever get where I was feeling tired or anything. I just was going and just doing stuff. Like, I did a lot of cooking. I do a lot of cooking a lot of days. I cook a lot. I mean, cookies and bread and kombucha. Like, I was doing a lot of stuff. And then, like, I have my weights sitting here. So we'll, like, walk through and I'll do a rep of squats or something. Go in, maybe brush my hair for a while, come out, let Stella out, go get her a treat. Like, it's weird. It's like you're just going and doing this stuff, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's like 2:30. It's getting later now, like the day is going, and all of a sudden it's like 4 o'clock or whatever. At some point, like around 4:30, I was telling her, I'm tired. I want to get some sleep tonight. And then I don't even know when I laid down. And then I went to sleep, and then right away jolted awake. And it was just like, I've only been asleep for an hour and a half. But I did get more rest or something. But I'm changing my perspective on like aging, on birthdays, on sleeping, on everything. Everything. Like, now I don't, like, if there's something, if I'm using a pan or something, I don't just go and put all soap in everything anymore. Now, sometimes I just wash it with hot water. And, now I see, it's like, why did we think that we needed soap on all this stuff when the soap has so many chemicals and stuff? And then there's no telling what sticks to a pan, and then you heat it up and what comes out and you breathe it. Like, all this stuff, and all those things, gives you another gray hair, and you think you're aging, but it's really this poisoning, or being poisoned all the time. And depleted of minerals that make you younger, because aging isn't real. It isn't real. Or I don't know what the whole thing is about it. Like, I don't know if we are all in a good mental place and we're all having healthy food and we're taking care of ourselves with the minerals and nutrition properly. I don't know, if like you're 100 and you start to age or something. Because our cycle, they've tried to make an interference in our cycle. So I don't know. Maybe we stay looking young for hundreds of years. Like, I don't know. I just know that this is all a lie. This is manufactured because of what I'm going through with it going the other direction, with it filling back in. And that is so trippy too, is to see the color fill back in. Like, people think they're growing gray hair in. They think, oh, I'm growing gray hair in. No, your hair is stripping itself of color to try and keep you alive. And then it's like little ones here, little ones there. And the difference, if people was right then, if people knew, as soon as they saw the first signs of gray hair, they were like, oh my gosh, I'm short on minerals. And then, I still got to go with like these doctors. Like, I can't even believe that we have respect for these people and we think that they're intelligent. It's like, ugh. They've got to know some of this shit. Like, I mean, when people are coming into their appointments and we're doing their histories on them, we're asking them all those questions, and all the wrong questions. We should be asking them, how often do you use your microwave? How often do you eat out? How often do you eat out? They do ask about drinking, but I think that's for other reasons. But, how much alcohol somebody uses, how much processed food does somebody eat, how much fast food does somebody eat, all those things. And like the stuff, like the video that keeps going around too, is I think it's a craft place or something, some place that makes bread and noodles and macaroni and stuff, and showing their machines and then how dirty, like all these people who are such germaphobes, is like, you fucking eat so much germs, but germs aren't even real, but somehow this unreal stuff can affect us. Like, it's the weirdest thing. This place just is so trippy. Like, it's weird. So anyways, Stella's starting to get her attitude on. So let me think if there was something else. So it seems like, but anyways, to me, everything is about this awakening, about awakening to your health, awakening to your spirit, mind, body, spirit. It's a awakening to who you are, and realizing, and then, all of this stuff about how much you were attached to who you were in this reality is the stuff you got to let go of. It's the stuff that you got to heal. And, I don't even know these spiritual people with their teachings and stuff with the, because they'll be like having a bad day, facing a lot of darkness. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know what, to me, just think about healing and releasing and letting go of things. The more you let go of, the more your vibration goes up. The more you let go of is the recognizing, the humbling experience of seeing, you're not the victim. You're just as much a monster as anybody else. So it's all just these roles. It's all just this spiritual game. It's all this coming in to learn and see who you are. But there is a lot more to this mineral thing. So, and this iron in our blood or copper in our blood. And I have seen in Stella and in mine, the redness that comes back in to her hair, into my hair. And so anyways, I just will tell everybody, now she's on the move. I would just tell everybody to start working on replenishing the minerals and vitamins that are being taken out of us, depleted out of us, and we've just allowed it. So anyways, I will get going. I'm just trying to see if she was going to ring the bell for you, Crystal. Are you going to ring the bell for Crystal still? She would like it if you would ring the bell. I don't know. Sometimes she just goes over there and whines. It's like, why don't you ring the bell? And then sometimes she goes over and just starts beating the bell and it's flying all over. I've got little bells going all over the place. She's got this one is down to the last few bells. So, okay, I'm coming. Anyways, okay, I'll go do my motherly duties with my little creature, little baby girl. And so, I'll talk to you later. Talk to you tomorrow. Talk to you later. Bye.